A very good afternoon to you, and thanks so much for joining us on Midday Live. My name is Naniki Amensa Brampa. Let's look at the headlines for the afternoon. And coming up, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly claims its decongestion in Accra has reduced waste by 30%. Meanwhile, hawkers are back on the streets of Accra barely a month after the decongestion exercise. Also, injunction placed on Cape Coast South New Patriotic Party constituency elections. Meanwhile, elections are ongoing across the country. Also coming out 52 years after the overthrow of Ghana's first president, we ask if Nkrumah's legacy has been lost. And on the foreign front, two large explosions in Somalia's capital city, Mogadishu, have killed at least 18 people and injured dozens. So we have sports and entertainment all coming up in the next 60 minutes. You would want to stay interactive with us on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana, same as Twitter, TV3_Ghana. We're live there too. Let's settle for the detail, and beginning with this afternoon, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, the AMA, has claimed that ongoing efforts to decongest the city and prevent trading activities on the streets has reduced waste collection from the Central Business District by 30%. Now, the exercise, according to Gilbert Ankra, Public Relations Officer of the Assembly, has also reduced the cost of collection and resources used. According to Mr. Ankra, the Assembly is now collecting a third of what it used to collect before the exercise began on January 8, 2018. Meanwhile, hawkers are back on the streets of Accra barely a month after the Metropolitan Assembly's decongestion exercise. January 8, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, the AMA, embarked on a massive decongestion exercise to rid the streets of unlawful commercial activities. However, a walk through these same streets show that the hawkers have returned. They are, however, on constant alert to outwit the task force. I stand here and run whenever they come. I will keep coming because I must earn a living. If they arrest me, I will leave my wares and run to save my life. They argued the exercise was discriminatory. They expect the Assembly to relocate them. The line the task force uses to demarcate the areas we don't have here. Some areas have it, but we do not. There is no space in the main market for me.
There is no official place for us to sell. We are hoping they will relocate us.
At the time of filing this report, the Public Relations Officer of the Assembly, Gilbert Ankra, who would not speak on camera, indicated he is awaiting official reports from the task force on provision of alternative markets for the hawkers. He said the Assembly is working on it. Right, so Atahin is with a coalition of NGOs in water and sanitation. He joins us on phone. Good afternoon to you, sir, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon.
Now,
Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, listening to the claim by the AMA of clearing the city by some 30%, is this claim by the AMA not premature?
Thank you very much. I think that we should also appreciate the effort the AMA is making to ensure that the city is, cleared of the filth that we have seen in recent times. Look, you walk through the capital and it's an eyesore that in a lower middle income country, the capital will be so filthy. And let's not pretend that this can be laid squarely at the doorstep of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. No. The ministry develops the policies, strategies, and programs so that the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies can work with them. But you and I know that the situation is far from, improving. You walk through the city, and as you said, we see filth all over. So 30% for me is not enough. Even if you have achieved 30%, that is not what we expect. We are expecting that the city will be rid of the filth that we see, not the 30%. Look, the congestion exercise is, for me, a very good thing. But what we have often seen is that, it doesn't last. For some socio-political reasons and pressures.
Right. Now, Mr. Ahen, now the assembly, Mr. Ahen.
That's always been the problem.
Mr. Ahen.
Yes.
Okay, so we're clear on that. But the assembly is bent on decongestion. Is that the single issue that will solve the issue of sanitation in Accra? Is that the only way out?
Not at all. Thank you very much. If you decongest the city, are you saying that waste management will improve? Because ultimately, that is what we are all looking for. There is a purpose for the decongestion exercise to ensure that life becomes comfortable for all of us, for motorists, for traders, for customers, and for everybody. But that doesn't seem to be the result that we are seeing. We are decongestion fine, but we are still seeing the filth around the capital. We are still seeing waste, garbage, heaps of garbage gathering around everywhere you pass, and people sit there and they are trading. So this age-long problem, I think, has to be tackled, from a multi-sectoral point of view, and not just by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly or any MMDA for that matter.
Okay, so following that, let's focus on your coalition. What is your organization's assessment of the sanitation in the country, and also the decision by the Youth Employment Agency to widen and restructure the scope of sanitation service providers in the country?
Well, for us, the situation hasn't improved. For us, the situation is, going from bad to worse, and that has been our assessment. We think that until we put in place a certain structure which will help us to implement the strategies that we ourselves have developed. Look, you and I know that we have the National Environmental Sanitation Strategy and Action Plan, and yet we haven't worked with it. We pretend that these things don't exist, and then we keep reinventing the wheel. Let's go back to the table, pick these documents and strategies, programs, and work with them. They are very fantastic policies. If we are able to do that, we'll be seeing some very good results. Otherwise, we'll keep going forward and coming back all the time.
Right. We are grateful for your time this afternoon. Atahin is with a coalition of NGOs in water and sanitation. Let's turn our attention to the courts, as an Accra High Court has sentenced the former national coordinator of the Ghana Youth Employment and Entrepreneurial Agency, JIDA, Abuga Pili, to 6 years imprisonment, and the chief executive officer of Goodwill International Group, Philip Asibit, to 12 years imprisonment, both with hard labor. Now, this was after the courts presided over by Justice Efiasewa Botwe found them guilty of all 19 counts, including dishonestly causing financial loss to the state.
The two were handed a combined jail term of 18 years. The former JIDA national coordinator was sentenced 6 years for abetment of crime and 4 years for causing financial loss to the state. CEO of Goodwill International Group, Philip Asibit, was sentenced 12 years for defrauding by false pretense and 3 years for dishonestly causing financial loss.
The two accused persons were convicted on 19 counts, but these sentences are going to run concurrently. So in effect, they are going to serve 6 years and 12 years imprisonment in hard labor. And before the judge delivered her sentence, she actually told the court that the court had acknowledged and also considered certain facts, and these included the fact that the two accused persons during the course of the trial never showed any signs of remorse. The judge also sent a clear warning that stealing from the state is a canker that needs to be dealt with. So she considered all of these before passing sentence. Right after sentence was passed, quickly the policemen who were around actually placed this man under arrest.
Lawyer for Philip Asibit before the sentence asked for not more than 6 months. Lawyer Kweku Pentel explained the prisons are full and his client is a chief and an entrepreneur who has 11 children he needs to take care of. Abuga Pele's legal counsel, on the other hand, also asked for not more than 6 months, explaining his client is a former member of parliament and was actually an MP when the trial began. Lawyer Abu Juan believes Abuga Pele lost the Chiana Paga seat in the Upper East Regional Parliamentary primaries as a result of the case. State Attorney Evelyn Kilson asked for a sentence within limit and reminded the court the state, per the laws, also expect asset recovery. Justice Ifia Sewa ordered that the state recovers from Abuga Pele the value of 1.9 million cedis or property or asset equivalent to the amount.
Well, meanwhile, legal counsel for Philip Asibit, Kweku Pencil, says he has been instructed by his clients to appeal the conviction and also apply for bail. Lawyer Kweku Pencil argued the state, which had the burden of proving the 6 charges leveled against his client, was selective in presenting evidence to the court.
The very best of what I know, based on what we have discussed, anytime next week the appeal will come out, and I can also assure you that it will be coupled with an application for bail pending the determination of the substantive appeal. That much I can tell you.
In sentencing the businessman, the court gave him an opportunity for restitution or to refund. The court gave the defense lawyers and accused persons an opportunity to negotiate payment of the monies embezzled. But in what the court described as lack of remorse, this was turned down as the judge was asked to use their discretion, but lawyer for Asibit defended the decision, maintaining that the judge was unfair.
That was unfair in my view. You notice that when it comes to sentencing, it's a different ball game. The judge herself had indicated that, elsewhere, time is given to people, but only she was not willing to adjourn proceedings. You cannot ask a lawyer to confer with a client in the glare of the court in 5 minutes and expect us to come up with anything reasonable. If you're not satisfied with the judgment, there's a danger that you will compromise that judgment by making certain concessions to the court. Because if you're not satisfied, you've got a right of appeal. But if you move beyond that and make reparations, as good as admitting the conviction, and that may impair your ability to appeal against it subsequently. So what we did was tactical.
Let's move away from the courts, and the wife of the Vice President, Samira Bawumia, says the views of women are key in every nation or community to develop. She made the observation at the 7th Women's Conference and Lecture of the Ghana National Union of Technical Students in Accra.
The conference and lecture was on the theme, the role of women in ensuring sustainable development in Ghana and beyond. The wife of the Vice President, who presented a paper titled The Impact of Gender Parity in Enhancing Democracy and National Development, maintained that for a country, a community or an economy to achieve its potential or meet the challenges of the 21st century, the full and equal participation of both women and men cannot be overlooked. According to her, failure to utilize the potential of women by ensuring equal participation by both genders is a missed opportunity.
The onus lies on all of us to challenge assumptions about women, reshape our own perception of how we view ourselves, and together we can redefine opportunities for future generations of women, forging a lasting legacy of growth, increased prosperity, and stronger communities throughout the world.
The Deputy Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Gloria Kwanzaa, stated the support of all is very crucial in helping the career woman maintain and keep her home.
The support of the husband is very crucial. And if the husband is understanding and helps with house chores and care of the children, then the couple is truly blessed. And we need to appreciate those who do so, and also ensure that our boy children are sensitized and socialized to appreciate and support.
The conference brought together students from technical universities and polytechnics across the country. National Women's Commissioner GNUTS Sandra Ogoli Idrisu entreated government to roll out more programs to enable women achieve their God-given talents. Samira Bawumia and Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Otiko Jaba, were given special recognition for their inspiring and exemplary leadership style.
Midday Live, and we're turning our attention to do some politics now and to forestall any security lapses in the ongoing NPP constituency elections. The Menchia North constituency elections are being held at the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council. But tension was high when our correspondent went to the RCC to monitor the polls. And as at 9:15 a.m., the elections had not started because the initial venue for the elections, the Yaa Asantewaa Lounge, had been changed to the main conference hall of the RCC. Now, the Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei Mensah, had to intervene for the electoral officers to dismantle their electoral materials to the Yaa Asantewaa Lounge. Regional correspondent Beatrice Piokabra is at the Ofori Krom constituency with the Regional Secretary, Samuel Pine, for an update of the elections.
Here at the Ashanti region, the election is going on smoothly, except for some tension in some constituencies. Currently, I am coming to you from Ofori Krom constituency, that is the community center at KNUST, where the Ofori Krom constituency is having its elections. Elections is ongoing here smoothly, and I have with me here the Regional Secretary, Samuel Pine, who will be speaking to us so far as the elections are concerned in the region, how it is going. Honorable, you are live on TV3. How would you describe the elections so far in the region?
So far, yes, I'm the scheduled officer for the Ofori Krom constituency, but I still monitor from other constituencies, and wherever that we are having the elections in the region, it's going on smoothly. It's going on smoothly, and that, yes, we met with the police command on Thursday to look at the security situations. We also met with the electoral commission, and as you see, they are all at post, making sure that things go on smoothly. As at now, we've not encountered any difficulties in Ofori Krom, and from places that I've monitored, it's going on smoothly.
Okay. We've also gathered information that some injunctions have been placed for the constituency elections. Mention can be made of Swami constituency. What can you say about that one?
That is what I've also gathered, and I've got to hear about these things from the media as you are telling me. But as per my desk, as the regional secretariat, I've not seen any of such injunctions. But that's what is in the public domain, and that's what some of the EC officials are telling us, that they've been served by certain individuals. So I don't know the rate, what they are seeking, the relief that they are seeking for. But yes, as a political party, if there are some of these things, we go according to the laws of the land and abide by them accordingly. I know that after the elections, whatever that happened, we're going to do a review. We're going to sit down. We have committees that we put in place to look at some of these things and make sure that, yes, the right things are done.
Okay, you said you've not had official letters to that injunctions, but how many have you heard apart from the Swami? How many injunctions have you heard have been placed on some constituency elections?
I've heard about Formina, Menchia South, and near Dubiase, Sutakwama, Beposo, and Efijase Asokore. That's what I heard. But as I said earlier on, I've not seen any formal writ or whatever on my table or at the office. If they've been given to other persons within the party, I cannot confirm that. But at this morning, I've not cited anything. All that I've gathered is what I gathered from the social media.
And then Ashanti region is considered as the heartbeat of the NPP. After these elections, how are you going to resolve all the tension so that you can still maintain your stronghold in the region going forward?
Some of these things are peculiar not only to elections in Ashanti region, but to all other elections. And it's not anything new. Every time that we have internal elections, there are some of these things that we see. And even it's on the minimal side, these elections. But as a party, as I said earlier on, we are going to have our committees in place that will look at some of these matters and resolve them. Those that will be legal, we give it to our legal teams to look at it. Those that are party-wise, we're going to sit down as a political party and look at the matters and resolve them amicably.
And then those who will win and those who will lose, as regional secretary, what would you tell them?
You see, it's an internal election. We all want people who hold the party as we head in towards 2020 and beyond. We also know that we need to get committed people to do that. All those who have filed to contest are party people who think they have something to give to the party when they win. But we also advise them, yes, the mudslinging should be out. After all, if you speak ill against me, I may forgive you that. But you are ever going to forget that you spoke ill about me? So we advise them not to mudsling, look at the issues, what they can do for help with the consensus and the party in general.
So our correspondent Beatrice Piogabra there with that update from the Ashanti region, talking about the NPP constituency elections ongoing in that region as well as across the whole country. We're coming here to the Greater Accra region where my colleague Selom Amenya is standing by in the Crowell constituency. Hello, Selom.
Hello, Nana.
Right, so what can you report from that constituency regarding the elections?
Well, the elections are ongoing, and then we have 10 positions being contested here. We're talking of the chairmanship position where we have about 7 people contesting. We also have the vice and second vice chairman position, assistant treasurer organizer, women organizer, youth organizer, and the NASA coordinator. And I can tell you that everything is going on smoothly over here. Though they were not able to start at exactly 10 a.m., we are told that by 3 p.m. they should be done for counting to start.
Okay, so have you been able to interact with any of the officials, and what is the situation there? How is the process ongoing?
All right, Nana, I have here Mr. Augustine Ntiamwa. He happens to be the municipal electoral officer. So I want to speak to him to find out if everything is okay in terms of preparation and the election. Thank you very much, Mr. Ntiamwa, and you are live on TV3 Midday News.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so let's see, how are things moving so far?
For now, as we can see, the voting is going on smoothly. We don't have any problem, and I'm sure we'll end up successfully.
Yes, but I see some people who fill papers that look like posters and the rest. That is against the law.
Yes, a few of them. We've educated them that election day, there shouldn't be any vote. Even the polling center where we organize election, no poster should be seen. But you know, as a party, a few of them are trying to campaign the election day where voting is taking place. So I've spoken to them where they were not trying to understand. I tried to take out the posters from them.
Yes, but I can count about 6 police officials around. Have you informed them?
Yes, sir, they are aware. They are aware. The police are aware. But I say that this is a party affair. Once the party themselves, the contestants are not complaining, they feel that they shouldn't waste their time. But as an electoral officer, it is against it. So when I see it, I will take it. When I see it, I will advise them to move away from this area. That is the only little challenge we are facing here.
Okay, so at exactly 3 p.m. Voting will end.
Because the total delegates are about 730. And I think by this time, by 3 o'clock, we should even finish counting.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Augustine.
You're most welcome.
So, Naneke, you heard Mr. Augustine Ntiamwa. He is the municipal electoral officer for the Lejokuku Crowell Municipal Assembly. Nana.
Why, Solomon, we're grateful for that update there from the Lejokuku Crowell constituency. Remember, we have our reporters scattered across the country. And let's turn our attention to the Central region and some New Patriotic Party members in the Cape Coast South constituency of the Central region have secured an injunction to stop the election of executives for that constituency this Sunday. Now, the members issued a writ at the court Friday challenging the eligibility of one of the 3 candidates vying for the chairmanship position in that constituency. It followed the expiration of a 24-hour ultimatum given to party executives in the constituency and the region to disqualify Alex Hagan Mensah or face a court action. Meanwhile, in parts of the country, the elections are ongoing as scheduled. Why, so you're watching Midday Live, and remember you can get more updates on the NPP constituency elections as well as others on 3news.com. We're taking a breather. When we return, we have more. This is Midday Live. This is Midday Live. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the first president of Ghana, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was unconstitutionally ousted from office through a military and police coup d'etat on February 24, 1966. Now, this year marks exactly 52 years since the Convention People's Party, the CPP, government was overthrown. According to classified documents from the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, in 1999, the then U.S. government had been trying to influence some people to overthrow President Nkrumah since 1964. And joining us this afternoon in studio to look at the legacy of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, whether it still lives on or is lost, we have Professor Edmond Ninyem Dele, is the national chairman and leader of the Convention People's Party. Good to have you here, Prof.
Thank you.
And a happy new year. I haven't seen you the whole year.
Thank you.
Now, let's look at the legacy of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah 52 years on. How relevant is it to the CPP and Ghana as a whole?
The founder of Ghana.
Founder of Ghana.
Definitely was Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. How can the legacy of Kwame Nkrumah ever die in Ghana or in Africa? Look round our educational institutions. Look at the Tema Harbour. But more importantly, what we are touting now about unity of the country, what we are touting now about corruption, Osagyefo was one of the, and unity not only of the sub-Saharan African, West Africa, but the whole of Africa. So Nkrumah's legacy is now even more relevant than it was years ago. He was the first African really to come and tell us, and he made it clear that the independence of Ghana was meaningless without the total liberation of the African continent. Is it not to look at where our brothers and sisters are going to, fighting to Libya to die? And he said, look, Africans should be able to take care of their own affairs, no matter how difficult the situation is. And what is it? You heard it just recently. The ECOWAS met to say they wanted a currency. Is that not? You heard it a few days ago. But Nkrumah started by telling all African states that please, our independence alone is not enough. Ghana encouraged all other nations, African states, to have independence. It was that spirit that he had. It was this leadership role that he showed to those who were still looking for their independence. It was the support he gave to them that made some of them to have independence. And so he is not, and he was not only a leader for Ghana, but he was a leader for Africa and for all black people all over the world. So that his legacy is so strong, not only go to America and to the places where black people are. His name is everywhere.
Prof, we talk about the legacy still living and his name being everywhere.
Yeah.
52 years after his overthrow. But why is this not reflecting now in modern day Ghana as we're speaking, looking at that legacy you're saying it still lives on?
Let us find out. The coup was started and what happened to the CPP. Most of the leaders of the CPP were locked up. You know that even to mention Nkrumah's name at that time, you had to go to prison. To any relic of Kwame Nkrumah was totally destroyed. And so what happened? The loyal opposition has never been there. CPP has tried to keep to that. That look, once a government has been elected and put in power, we should not in any way try to destroy that legacy. But look at what has happened to the history of the CPP. Even our name was taken away from us. To declare yourself a supporter of Kwame Nkrumah was a criminal offense. Even to see any document you had about Kwame Nkrumah was this one. So, of course, it destroyed that psyche, that spirit of the CPP. And what happened? But still, we were able in 1979 to come together again to form the PNP under the leadership of the late Dr. Hilary Limann. And what happened? We didn't stay on even for 2 years. And the same government which put PNP to power overthrew the government. And what happened? So Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown. We brought back, and they gave us just 6 months. And 6 months, PNP came into power. Our organizational skill and this one. And the people came in again.
So we
and
keep,
they realized
we keep going on and on and on. Let's look at Nkrumah and the CPP. Talking about his legacy living on and the impact of the CPP when it comes to Ghana's politics and development. Would you admit that the CPP vis-a-vis Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is nothing to write home about? Talking about the reflections of the Nkrumah factor.
Oh, definitely. You have to find out. People have wanted to destroy it. And if you know of it, then you know why is it. NDC came. How many people in the NDC were not former members of the CPP? The majority of them. So a calculated attempt has been made to destroy the legacy of the CPP.
So are you then surprised, still on the Nkrumah factor?
Yes.
Some politicians, you mentioned the NDC, I wouldn't want to mention all the parties, but they have tried to hide behind the Nkrumah's factor. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised.
Why?
Why should I be surprised? Because it is that name, it's that philosophy he had that make people to love a party. And even the current government, and with due respect to the president, find out what he's doing now. Is it not the legacy of Kwame Nkrumah? Industrialization that he brought about, and people were saying no. Now, the Zongo you are talking about, you read in history and go to the archives. You see that he had a plan for the Zongos, and he had even paid compensation for the Nima people to move to Medina, to structure a place. And if you go to the archives, they are picking them up. But they will not come honestly to tell us that after Nkrumah.
Prof,
yes.
Being an Nkrumahist for that matter, being part of the CPP, would you agree, 60 years on in Ghana's politics, that it is no more attractive in the country?
I don't think that you say that it's no more attractive. It is this distraction of any attempt made by the CPP to come together. And this one, and we are destroyed.
So you don't agree that the CPP is no more attractive as a political party?
No, how can you say that it's no more attractive?
Why is it attractive?
It's the youth are now coming. We are teaching them because the history of the Convention People's Party was destroyed. They didn't want even you to show the picture of Kwame Nkrumah. The books were not available. They were, now,
how many youth are you talking about?
No, now
let's look at the numbers.
Now the youth are reading. The youth are reading the books of Kwame Nkrumah. I go around the whole of. Most of the young people now are listening to us.
How many young people have you had in the party as we speak?
How many young people?
Yes.
Have? Come and see now.
Give me the numbers, Prof.
Well, I can tell you that most of the positions now are with the youth. Most, like the communication director, like this, they are quite.
You're still not giving me the numbers. And when the time frame, you are the chairman of the party. What are the numbers and when did they join the party?
They joined, some of them joined 2-3 years ago, and more are joining every day.
And the numbers, 100, 250?
More than that.
Well.
They're more than that. They are in their thousands now. They are not in
thousands.
We went and got 20, during the last election, we had over 20,000 votes. So you want to tell me that
what happened in the 2016 elections then?
So
if you have a lot of the youth in the party, the impact.
The impact of it, you know what happens in politics here. It's no longer a politics of ideology. It's no more a politics of this, but a politics of money, monetization on the political parties. And that is why some of us are saying that arrived at this stage, we have to do something of our political party if they are to be relevant.
Well, so that is what the professor is saying. Something should be done to our political parties. I'm sure the CPP is one. Professor Edmond Nyenyam Dele is the national chairman and leader of the Convention People's Party. Prof, we're grateful for your time this afternoon and thank you for joining us in the studio. Now, we will take some business news updates and when we return from this break. Let's talk business now, and the annual percentage rates of interest charged on loans and credit advances and the average interest paid on deposits by banks for January stands at 25.6%. Now, this represents a 0.1% drop from December 2017 figures of 25.7%.
The APR is the true interest rate commercial banks charge the public on loans and advances. It reflects the true cost of borrowing and includes charges and commissions levied by banks. The average interest rate at which commercial banks lend to their customers stands at 25.6% for January 2018. The Bank of Ghana APR and AI report says Premium Banks tops with its base rate at 34.3%, followed by Unibank with 33.7%. The Royal Bank occupies the third position with a base rate of 32.9%. Sovereign Bank follows with 32.2% and Heritage Bank 29.5%. A banking consultant, Dr. Richmond Etuahini, says the high interest rates charged by banks is partly due to the high operational costs they face and therefore the need for them to operate efficiently in order to bring down the rates.
The banks should look at their portfolio. The non-performing is still very high. December was 22.7%. And all these things are affecting the price. If the bank do not clean their balance, their portfolio very well, it's not going to be easy to drop the price on it. Because the risk premium for those who don't pay are normally surcharged on those who pay. So the banks should take steps, real steps, to look at their non-performing portfolio.
He said banks must face reality and bring down their rates, as the higher the interest rates, the more the defaulting rate increases.
Because for every 100 cedis, if you're charging me 34, it means that if I'm able to get the gross profit of the 100 cedis, I pay you alone 34%. I'm left with what? 50, is it 56 or 60? Then I have to pay staff, pay electricity, pay this. So it is very important that we should make sure that credit is efficient and it has a bearing on the deposit rate. If you look at the deposit rate and the cost, the disparity is huge. So banks declare profit. Today someone has declared 172 million. If you go into it alone, you can see that they are overcharging those who are taking loans.
The Food and Beverage Association of Ghana says the information by the Ministry of Finance that some beverage manufacturers are complying with the tax stamp policy directive is false. Now, the Executive Secretary of the association, Samuel Ankre, indicated that some of its members have received the tax stamps from the GRA, but does not mean they are preparing to comply with the policy come the March 1 deadline.
According to government, businesses which fail to comply with the implementation of the excise tax stamp by March 1st will have their goods seized and subsequently dealt with by the law. But the Executive Director of the Food and Beverage Association of Ghana, Samuel Ankre, says the directive from the ministry is unfortunate as the manufacturers have expressed their challenges in implementing the stamp tax policy to the ministry.
There's no law that binds me to buy the machine to affix the stamps. And therefore, if I don't buy the machine, I've not committed any crime. But I'm telling you, I don't have the money. So what do we do? That is where you have to come in and tell me the best way I can go about it and get the money. Because all the engagement that we've had, we've not heard anywhere that they are going to resource us to get the machines and then over a period you pay.
The ministry in its press release also indicated that some individual manufacturers are complying with the policy. But Samuel Ankre says the GRA has dumped the tax stamps at some of the factories since they had no option than to receive them. He wondered whether that could be referred to as complying.
A company like Casapreco were given the stamps and they asked to affix them. But they have a huge challenge there because you cannot be using your hand in affixing the stamps. You need a machine. And that investment is what we are talking about. Because if you have the machines there, why would you go and challenge government that you will not do it? You have no excuse.
He insisted there is another technology which the tax stamps can be affixed, which is cheaper and will yield the same results.
When you take a mineral water bottle, you see that there's a seal on it. Let's assume that is a tax stamp. You see that there's a printing on it. So with this one, a special code is given to you, the bottler, for that particular product.
TV3 independent checks with some top beverage manufacturers who spoke off camera indicated they are not ready to comply with the tax stamp implementation come March 1st.
And that will do for business this afternoon. We'll return with sports. Stay with us. 35-year-old photo model Afi Antonio has taken up philanthropic responsibilities to inspire and give hope. She is embarking on a campaign to raise funds to pay for the cost of surgery for 2 children with Waardenburg syndrome. Now, it's a rare medical condition, and also Ora has more.
Forget the honey, I be so gaga. Them they do what they do bad. I see a chain and they go gaga. Girl, you alone, I know they see baba.
Afi Antonio's career as a photo model has been nothing short of promising.
Afi Antonio is someone who loves to help people. I'm a photo model. I'm a TV show producer. I started taking photos and posting on Facebook. Then there was High Five. So I'll post my pictures everywhere, and I was getting a lot of comments, and I was like, okay, so this is going somewhere. So that's how it all started.
Beyond seeing her own career blossom, the 35-year-old model has a generous heart. Afi finds time in between her tight schedule to do philanthropy work. The beautiful presenter has over the period been able to groom, love and turn several persons living with autism into models. Last year, she unearthed and turned a female living with autism, Nanaya Ohenewa Kufuor, to a photo model. Nanaya has been able to discover her inner potential. Who knows, she could become the next top supermodel. Meet Chota and Miracle, 2 toddlers born with a rare medical condition known as Waardenburg syndrome. The adorable children have colored eyes, hearing and speech impairments and need an urgent surgery to correct the defects.
They went outside the country for tests, and hers is a little severe. It's not the mild one. She would have an implant. It's called cochlear implant. So she would have to get that before she can hear, and then they'll work on her speech. A therapist will work on her speech to be able to talk. She can't hear and she can't talk, yes.
All right, so we're wishing Afi well in her endeavor. But that will do for Midday Live this afternoon. There's more news on our website. It's 3news.com. My name is Nanekia Mensah Brampa. Enjoy your lunch and have a good afternoon.